Imagine a man who turned the power of music into a weapon against oppression. A man whose melodies echoed the heartbeat of a continent and whose lyrics were a rallying cry for the downtrodden. That man was Fela Anikulapo Kuti. Known as the pioneer of Afrobeat, Fela's story is one of passion, rebellion, and relentless pursuit of truth. Born into a Nigeria shackled by colonialism and later plagued by corruption, Fela refused to remain silent. He wielded his saxophone and microphone like swords, challenging the status quo and leaving an indelible mark on the world. But who was Fela? What shaped him into the icon we remember today? This is the life journey of Fela Anikulapo Kuti.
Elections to Ringo, Ambassador plan them very well. Elections to Ringo.
Chapter 1. The birth of a revolutionary. It all began on October 15, 1938 in Abeokuta, Nigeria. Fela Ransom Kuti was born into a family of prominence and influence. His father, Reverend Israel Oludotun Ransom Kuti, was an Anglican minister and a school principal, while his mother, Funmilayo Ransom Kuti, was a feminist and a trailblazer in her own right. She was one of the first Nigerian women to drive a car and led campaigns for women's rights. Fela's childhood was steeped in activism and education. Funmilayo's fiery spirit and Israel's disciplined approach to life shaped the young Fela, planting the seeds of rebellion and creativity. "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere," his mother often told him. Little did she know that her son would take this lesson to heart in ways the world could scarcely imagine. Growing up, Fela was not a conventional child. He questioned authority, sought deeper understanding, and displayed an innate musical talent. Abeokuta, with its rich cultural heritage, exposed Fela to traditional Yoruba music, rhythms, and stories, which would later influence his art. Chapter 2. The London Influence. In 1958, Fela moved to London to study medicine, but destiny had other plans. Music had always been his true calling, and he soon switched to the Trinity College of Music. It was here that he began to hone his craft, learning classical music and mastering the trumpet. London, in the late 1950s, was a melting pot of culture and political activism. Fela was exposed to jazz, funk, and soul, genres that would later influence his creation of Afrobeat. He formed his first band, Kula Lubitos, blending highlife with jazz to create a unique sound. Fela's time in London was transformative. He immersed himself in the city's vibrant jazz scene, attending performances by legends like Miles Davis and John Coltrane. These experiences deepened his appreciation for improvisation and innovation in music. He also began to engage with Pan-African ideologies, inspired by figures like Kwame Nkrumah and Marcus Garvey. Chapter 3. The birth of Afrobeat. Fela returned to Nigeria in the 1960s, a period marked by political upheaval. The civil war loomed and the nation was rife with corruption. It was against this backdrop that Fela's music began to evolve. Afrobeat was born, a fusion of highlife, jazz, funk, and traditional African rhythms. But Afrobeat wasn't just music, it was a movement. Fela's lyrics were a scathing critique of Nigeria's political elite, colonial legacies, and societal ills. One of his earliest hits, Zombie, was a fiery denunciation of the military regime. The song's infectious rhythms and sharp lyrics made it a hit, but it also made Fela a target. Fela's creative process was intense and collaborative. He surrounded himself with talented musicians, forming the Nigeria 70 Band, later renamed Africa 70. Together they developed a sound that was unmistakably African, yet universally resonant. His compositions were lengthy, with intricate arrangements and powerful messages. Chapter 4. Kalakuta Republic, an Africa Shrine. In the early 1970s, Fela declared his home a sovereign state, the Kalakuta Republic. It was a commune, a recording studio, and a haven for free expression. Here, Fela lived with his band members, family, and followers, pushing the boundaries of art and activism. The Africa Shrine, a nightclub and cultural hub, became the epicenter of Fela's movement. It was here that he performed electrifying shows, blending music with political commentary. The shrine was more than a venue, it was a temple of resistance. Kalakuta Republic was a microcosm of Fela's vision for an ideal society. It embraced communal living, self-reliance, and cultural pride. However, it also attracted scrutiny from authorities, who viewed it as a breeding ground for dissent. Chapter 5. Confronting the powers that be. Fela's activism made him a thorn in the side of Nigerian government. His home was raided multiple times, and he was arrested more than 200 times. But Fela refused to back down. Each arrest only added fuel to his fire. In 1977, Fela released Zombie, which infuriated the military regime. In retaliation, soldiers attacked the Kalakuta Republic, burning it to the ground and brutalizing its inhabitants. Fela's mother, Funmilayo, was thrown from a window during the raid, an act that deeply scarred him. Despite the losses, Fela's resolve only strengthened. He released Coffin for Head of State, a haunting tribute to his mother and a searing critique of Nigeria's leadership. Fela's confrontations with the authorities were not limited to Nigeria. His music criticized colonial powers and global institutions, addressing issues like apartheid, economic exploitation, and neo-colonialism. Songs like International Thief Thief, ITT, exposed the complicity of multinational corporations in Africa's plunder. Chapter 6. The Marriages and Controversies. Fela's personal life was as unconventional as his music. In 1978, he married 27 women in a single ceremony. These women, known as the Queens, were dancers, singers, and members of his commune. The move was both a cultural statement and a testament to his defiance of societal norms. Critics often labeled Fela as eccentric or even reckless, but to his followers, he was a visionary. His life was a paradox, blending hedonism with an unwavering commitment to justice. Fela's relationships with his queens were complex and deeply rooted in African traditions. He saw them as partners in his mission, and their presence added a dynamic energy to his performances. However, his lifestyle also drew criticism from conservatives and feminists alike. Chapter 7. Global Recognition and Legacy. By the 1980s, Fela's fame had spread beyond Africa. He performed on international stages, earning admiration and respect. Yet, his message remained rooted in the struggles of the African people. Fela's influence extended beyond music. He inspired movements for social change and influenced artists worldwide. From Bob Marley to Beyoncé, his impact is felt across genres and generations. Afrobeat's global reach continued to grow, with bands like Antibalas and artists like Burna Boy carrying forward Fela's legacy. His life inspired books, documentaries, and the Broadway musical Fela, which introduced his story to new audiences. Chapter 8. The Final Years. In the 1990s, Fela's health began to decline. Despite his struggles, he continued to perform and speak out. On August 2, 1997, Fela Anikulapo Kuti passed away, leaving behind a legacy that transcends time. His funeral was attended by over 1 million people, a testament to his enduring impact. Fela's music and message live on, a reminder of the power of art to challenge and inspire. Fela's passing marked the end of an era, but his spirit endures. His children, including Femi and Seun Kuti, have continued his musical and political legacy, ensuring that Afrobeat remains a voice for the oppressed. Fela Anikulapo Kuti was more than a musician. He was a force of nature. His life was a symphony of defiance, passion, and creativity. Through his music, he spoke for the voiceless, challenged the powerful, and celebrated the beauty of Africa. Today, Fela's spirit lives on in the Afrobeat genre and in the hearts of those who believe in the power of truth. His journey reminds us that one voice can spark a revolution and one life can change the world.